Welcome back. Today I'd like to explain you about problem solving techniques as this topic is already discussed in class 11th as per the CBSE curriculum. Once again we will be revising for computer science for class 12 as per the CBSE curriculum that is recently released as per the term 1, right? So now in this problem solving techniques, actually what is a problem we will discuss, and then topics of coverage as per CBSE curriculum for term 1 of class 11, that is steps for problem solving, analyzing the problem, developing an algorithm, coding, testing, debugging. See this, how do you represent algorithm, that is using flowchart, using pseudocode. Then we will discuss about decomposition of a problem, right? So then let's come to what is problem. What is problem? Problem is a matter or a situation regarded as unwelcome, harmful, or a need to be dealt with, to overcome. Okay, that is known as a problem. Problems are at the center of what many people do at work every day. Every day we will come across so many problems and we will be solving those problems, right? So some, as we are already habituated, then we are easily dealing with them, and some we have to analyze and think and then solve. So whenever we are facing problems, if we can go to others for help, but here nowadays the main solution to where we are looking is the computer or microprocessor. Why we are going to computer or microprocessor nowadays? Most often, or most frequently also, people go to computer or microprocessor as the speed of computer, the uh, pace at which the computer gives a solution is very fast. And not only the speed, but it is also the accuracy, right? Correct result. You see, human beings sometimes, based on their emotional conditions, based on their circumstances, the problem solution may be varying from human being to human being, or from the same person from time to time. But computer, how many times you execute the same problem, how many times you want the solution, it will give you the accurate solution without any hesitation or without tiredness, right? So generally problems are solved using some sort of program or software, using any computer programming language, right? So if you look into any problem or how do we solve that problem, first and foremost step is what is the problem. Without knowing the problem, see, in your examination paper also one question is given, so without knowing the question, how do you answer it, right? So you should be thorough with that question. We should understand the question first of all. So that is, you have to define the problem. What is the problem? What is the actual meaning of the problem? You have to analyze the problem, like you have to gather the requirements related to that problem. What type of data is needed, what type of inputs, what type of outputs, right? Also, what are the formulas to be used to solve this kind of problem, like that. Then we will come to a design solution, that is developing an algorithm, coding, testing, and debugging, all these things. So design solution. After designing that solution, we will actually practically will do that, implement the solution, which can be further extended in larger domain. So now we look at a small object and group of object exhibiting the same behavior. We will like apply the same technique to that group of objects. Okay, so that way first and foremost step is analysis, second is design, then comes the implementation of the solution. These are the three basic steps. So first and foremost is what is the problem, right? As we discussed, no, an unwelcome or anything which we have to deal with, so that is a problem, right? So what is the first step? As we discussed, first step is analyzing the problem. Primary, this is a very very important step in every problem solving technique. So what is the first step? First and foremost, that is very very important step, is defining or identifying the problem. What does it involve, like what does it care, like what does it take into consideration? So it involves diagnosing the situation so that the focus on the real problem and not on its symptoms. See, for example, if you go to, if you are having any some health issues, any health issue, then you will go to doctor for a solution, for treatment, right? So if only the treatment is given for the symptoms, not to the exact root cause, what will happen again and again? That person may get sick, right? May become sick. For example, if a performance of in any department is substandard, we might think the problem is with the individuals submitting work. However, if we look a bit deeper, the real issue might be lack of training or unreasonable workload or something. So we have to address to the, we have to analyze that whatever the based on the symptoms, we have to analyze what is actually root cause, and then you have to go for solving that problem. Similarly, problem solving also, even using a computer program, if you want to solve, provide a solution to a program, right, to a question. So then in that case, what are you supposed to do? First, analyze the problem. So analyzing or defining the problem is the process of understanding the problem and then defining it on the basis of data, type of input variables, type of output variables. Then that is actually a problem definition. So once the problem is defined, once the problem is analyzed, so now we will go for a design solution. Right. So design is what? Design is a process to transform user requirements into some suitable form which helps the programmer in software coding and implementation. See, generally what are the tools we use to design? Right. Generally, often we use algorithm. Algorithm means what? Step by step process. Right. So program design tools we use are for algorithm, or whatever the step by step process. So in which way, in which flow you want to, like in a diagrammatic way, if you want to show that, then we use a flow chart. Otherwise, if you want to write it in some intermediate language, okay, it is not exactly the programming language which you are using, it may not be exactly English like language also, but we use some pseudocode, partial code, okay. So that way also you can represent. Now coming to algorithm, what is an algorithm? Is a plan, a logical step-by-step process for solving a problem. So how do we represent algorithms? By using flowcharts or by using pseudocodes. How do we write? Suppose if you are writing in the textual format, we go for pseudocode. If you are representing in a diagrammatic representation, then we use flowcharts. Right. So while doing this, while implementing or while providing this solution, what are the two things we have to keep in mind? Two main focuses. One is overall objective, overall what is the final goal, and then at individual stages, what hurdles need to be overcome on the way to goal, right? So like short term goals, long term goals, you will have, no, that way. So the big picture to be kept in your focus, and then at individual stages also, how do you handle, or what are the hurdles, how to resolve them. So these are all the things to be kept in mind while solving any problem, right? So now, for example, let me explain you how to find a largest of two numbers. What is the algorithm for finding largest of two numbers? So what are the requirements for finding largest of two numbers? First of all, we need two numbers, right? So first let us start the process. So start the process, that is a starting step. Then second step is we need two variables, isn't it? Two numbers means two variables, and those variables values to be read from the console. So declare variable sum a comma b. It is x comma y, it can be num1 num2, it can be any, okay. So any variable, two variables you need, and then after declaring the variables, we have to provide values to that. Once you have declared some x, but what is the value of x? Without knowing the value of x, how do you compare these two values, and how do you find out which is largest, right? So you have to read variables a and b. After reading the variables values, then values are in a and b, Now we can compare the values of the variables A and B. If A is bigger than B, then which is the largest one? Then display A is the largest number. If otherwise how do we write? Else we use the keyword or else we use in our programming languages. So else case में क्या करेंगे? What do we do? Display B as the largest number. Understood? Now let's come to design solution continuation. That is, how do we represent in a diagram, right? So a flow chart. What is a flow chart? It's a graphical representation, as we discussed, diagrammatic representation of these steps, right? So what are the different symbols we use for representing algorithm, okay, in a flow chart, right? And how do we know that, yeah, from here that process is going to the next step, which step it is going, how do we know that? So these are represented using different symbols. Okay, so terminator, whenever start symbol, starting of the process or ending of the process, we use a terminator, that is either oval shape or elliptical shape. Then process, whenever some calculation is there or some statement you are writing, okay, some expression you are writing, then we use a rectangular box, a parallel, okay, a rectangular box. And then for document, rectangular only one edge is a curved edge, so then that is a representation of, yeah, here it is, a document is attached or a document. Then whenever, like in the previous case, if A is greater than B, then do this. If A is greater than B is false, that is come to else case, do this. So in that case, that is, there is a decision involved. If this is true, do this. If this is not true, do this. Like that, whenever a decision is involved, we use a diamond shape. Okay, and then coming to data. So like when we have read two input variables, that is A comma B, and we have displayed value of A if A is bigger than B, value of B in case if A is smaller than B. Right, so that is input and output, right? Input output, for input output we use a parallelogram data. Okay, then in which direction, like from here where it will go, from this diamond shape, where it will go, where the thread of control will take you, that is by using an arrow mark, flow. Okay, lines represent, arrow mark lines represent flow of sequence and the direction of the process. For example, let me show you algorithm that is for addition of two numbers. So for addition of two numbers, what are the inputs we need? What is the output we need? So addition means sum is the output. So first of all, we need to read two variables, A or B. Okay, A and B. Right. So now as we are taking it as input, then we have to use the symbol parallelogram, and then starting is the terminator and stopping, that ending is also terminator. So we have used elliptical shape, and here calculation of involved here. See, addition of two numbers, that is sum of two numbers. Sum is equal to A plus B. So that calculation we use a rectangular box. Clear? Right. So let's proceed to see some more flowchart, some more examples. Here I have given a flowchart for finding largest of two numbers. See here, first what start the process and then accept A and B from the console. So as it is input, we used a parallelogram, and then if A is greater than B. So here decision is involved, right? Decision whether this is true or false, right? If it is true, do something. If it is false, do something. So then we can find this arrow mark with a specific direction. If it is true, we'll come to display a statement and then come to stop. If it is false, come to display B statement and then come to the termination point. Is it clear? So whenever terminators to be indicated, we are using elliptical shape. Okay. Now coming to pseudocode. What is pseudocode? Pseudocode is not a programming language. It is simple way of describing a set of instructions that does not have to use specific syntax. There is no strict set of standard notations for pseudocode, but some of the most widely recognized are for input or output, we use either input, read, for output or write. Whenever there is a repeated loop, but starting itself, if you are giving the condition, then while. If you want to have a counter, like a counting of counting loop iteration, okay, then we go for loop for. Then if you want to, yeah, until this condition is satisfied, so repeat. And while going out of the loop, you check the condition. If it is until this condition is satisfied, repeat that steps, those steps, then repeat. Then if then else is a decision selection, right? For while repeat are iterative statements, whereas if then else is selective selection, in which a choice is made. Any instructions that occur inside a selection or iteration are usually generally we indent it. So one tab space we give. Okay, indentation is so that, yeah, clearly it is understood, like in the previous example. See here also we can see n1 greater than n2. So we indent the next statement so that, yeah, set max to n1 is executed if n1 is greater than n2. Otherwise else condition may only set max to n2 is executed. So that max variable, I am assigning n1 value to max or n2 value to max based on which one is bigger, and finally I am displaying. So read n1 n2 is input, so parallelogram to be used. Write max is output, so here also parallelogram. Whereas setting max to n1 and all, we use rectangle shape. Alright, now let's proceed. What is the difference between algorithm and pseudocode? Algorithm is well-defined sequence of steps that provide a solution for a given problem, while pseudocode is one of the methods that can be used to represent algorithm. What is the other way? Flowchart. Right. So it can be, algorithm can be written in natural language, whereas pseudocode is written in a format that is closely related to high-level programming language structures. They do not use specific programming language syntax, therefore could be understood by programmers who are familiar with different programming languages. So now transforming an algorithm presented in pseudocode to programming code is very easy than converting an algorithm written in natural language. So that is the reason always whenever we write algorithm, we prefer to write in pseudocode. After that, now once all the steps are noted, now we come to the point of implementation, actual coding. Right, coding is implementing whatever the logic or whatever the algorithm or whatever the pseudocode or whatever the flowchart, whatever the problem definition you have already analyzed, no, then we will be writing it in one of the preferred programming languages: C, C++, Java, JavaScript, Python, etc. So as per the protocols or rules or syntactic grammar of the chosen language by following the decisions taken in design. Next, once the coding is done, then what are we supposed to do? You have to check whether your coding is all right, whether it is giving you result, whether is there any error or not, right? So software testing is a method to check whether the actual software product matches expected requirements and to ensure that software product is defect free. Right, testing is very important, because if there are any bugs means errors. So debugging means deletion of errors. Right, any bugs or errors in the software, it can be identified early and can be solved before delivery. After delivery, lot of cost is involved in that, isn't it? So before delivery of the product, software product, properly tested software product ensure reliability, security and high performance, which further results in time saving, cost effectiveness and customer satisfaction. Right, coming to testing, what are the types of testing? There are functional testing, non-functional testing or performance testing, and maintenance testing. right? So as the time changes, like you according to the upcoming requirements and all, whether this software is adapted to that situation, working fine or not, that is maintenance. Okay, so functional testing, non-functional testing, and maintenance testing. These are the three types of software testing. Coming to functional testing, we will have unit testing. Unit testing means individual unit. For example, if you have written a menu driven program, that is to append, to search, to add, to delete, or something like that. So every individual function we can test it. So individual units or components of a software are tested. That is unit testing. Then integration testing is these components individually, yes, we tested it and we found it correct. Then we combine them together and then again we'll test it on a whole. Then that is integration testing. Generally we have done in our practicals, so menu driven program. So individually we have written function, and then when you are executing as a whole, so then after addition, again if you go for display, then whether it is working fine or not. After addition of some record, whether if you are going for search operation, whether it is working fine or not, like that. So that is known as integration testing. Next, smoke test. Smoke test is whether the employed build is suitable, stable or not. Okay, so whatever the coding that is employed, whatever the coding that is deployed, okay, so that is stable or not, that is smoke test. Then user acceptance testing. Actually users test the software as was required. See, sometimes suppose if you're coding, in your coding itself you are given directly values, so then every time it will be giving you a proper result for that particular input. So when you are allowing user to give inputs from the console, user acceptance testing, right? So actually users test the software after you have given them, and then they are also satisfied, that satisfied or not satisfied, that is this user acceptance testing. Like, then localization is behavior of software that is tested for specific region, specific local, specific culture. Okay, then globalization ensure that the software application can work in any location, that is globalization. Coming to non-functional testing, then we will be looking at the performance, endurance, load, volume, scalability, and usability. What is performance? Performance means at what speed, right? And what is the response time? How much time it is taking? Your computer is hanging or your processor is becoming slow? All these things, response time. Okay, from the moment that you have started your process and then you had given a request, the time it took to give a response. Okay, so the time it took to give a response to the user is response time. Then what is the stability, reliability, scalability? All these comes under performance testing. Then endurance means testing a system with significant load given over time. Okay, so yeah, this is working for this small inputs. Okay, suppose if hundreds of lines of input is given, or 1 lakh records are given, or 1 crore records are given, so how this program will respond? That is endurance testing. Load test is under specific expected load. Then volume test is data volume handled by the software. That is what, how big data can be handled by this program. Then scalability is scale up or scale down based on the number of user requests. Right. Usability is how easy, user friendly a software application is. Then coming to maintenance, we have regression test and maintenance test. Regression test is to make sure that a change or addition hasn't broken any existing functionality. Okay, if you have done some small changes, so it should not break the complete application. Then maintenance is testing done during this enhancement, change and migration is also known as maintenance testing, right? So coming to debugging is what, the process, usually software contains errors and bugs which are removed routinely. Debugging is the process of fixing a bug in the software. What are the debugging steps? right? So we will be identifying the error, analyzing the error, then whatever the error, where is the error location, okay, prove that analysis, and then cover lateral damage. Okay, these are all the steps in debugging. Then comes implementation. When you are implementing parallel method, phased method, pilot method, direct method, right? So parallel method is a new system is at the same time, okay, as the old system. The two systems are said to be running in parallel. Okay, so then phased system is first phase, second phase, third phase, like that. So when small parts of the new system gradually replace small parts of the old system, and the implementation is known as phased implementation. Then pilot method. So pilot method is when a small group of users within an organization uses a new system prior to wider use, the system is said to be piloted. When a new system is implemented without any phased or pilot implementation, then it is a direct implementation. Finally, as per our syllabus, what is decomposition? Decomposition is also known as factoring or breaking a complex system, complex problem into parts that are easier to conceive, easier to understand, easier to program and maintain. What is the main need for decomposing a problem is it involves breaking down a complex problem or a system into small parts that are more manageable and easier to understand. The smaller parts can then be examined and solved or designed individually, and then finally they can be combined together also, right? So this way work can be made simpler and can be done in less time, more efficient way also. Examples of decomposition. So for example, if you are taking a banking system, so account creation department, depositing money, withdrawal of money, that are different parts of the entire banking transaction system. Coming to library management system, entry of book, member entry, issue of books, depositing of books, like this we can decompose the entire library activity into this simple smaller parts. Then coming to payroll system, employee entry, work hours, days entry, and then paying of salary, pay slip generation, like different, we can segregate into small tasks, and then it can be easily the entire payroll system can be implemented. So now overall, what and all we discussed now, what is a problem, what are the steps for problem solving, that is analyzing the problem, developing an algorithm, coding, testing, debugging, and then how do we represent algorithms using flowcharts we have seen and using pseudocodes, and finally we discussed about decomposition. Okay, wish all the best. Yeah, keep watching for further lessons. Continue to subscribe.